I think we should begin.
Okay.
All right. I will start with an opening statement. I call this meeting of the Ramsey, Washington Suburban Cable Commission to order. As previously noticed, this meeting is being conducted by telephonic means pursuant to Minnesota statutes section 13D.021 in connection with the declared public health emergency in response to coronavirus COVID-19 and the determination that in-person meetings and meetings conducted under Minnesota statutes section 13D.02 are not practical or prudent because of a health pandemic or declared emergency. The Commission's Executive Director is physically present at the Commission's regular meeting location. Commission members can hear one another and can hear all discussion and testimony. All votes will be conducted by roll call. Members of the public are invited to participate in this meeting by calling into the teleconferencing system. So at this time, Tim, would you please do the roll call?
Yes. Randy LaFoy.
Here.
Lisa Reitfeld.
Here.
Bob Nuffert. Joanne Frayne. Jeff Huber.
Here.
Steve Bonin. Justin Bloyer. Amy Modine.
Here.
Karen Gotchberg. Newton Smith. Tara Heiser.
Here.
Scott Dudek. Lori Polkerbeck.
Here.
Kevin Zabel. Les Dom.
Here.
Ron Den.
Here.
Beverly Frent is, Luke Machad. Beverly Frent is excused. Vicky Keating.
Here.
Okay. Roll is taken.
Thank you, Tim. Then we would move to open podium. Is there anyone on the call this evening who would like to speak during open podium? One more time, I will ask, is there anyone who'd like to speak during open podium? If not, then we will move on to approval of the agenda. Are there any suggested changes to the agenda? And if not, I would look for a motion to approve as presented.
Motion approved agenda, Tara Heiser, North St.
Tara moved it.
Second, Ron Den.
All right, we have a motion by Tara and a second by Ron. Tim, would you please take the roll call vote?
Yes. Randy LaFoy.
Yes.
Bob Nuffert. Joanne Frayne. By the way, I'm going to keep calling the names in case folks are coming on later. Bob Nuffert. Joanne Frayne. Jeff Huber.
Yes.
Amy Modine.
Yes.
Karen Gotchberg. Tara Heiser.
Yes.
Lori Polkerbeck.
Yes.
Les Dom. Ron Den.
Aye.
Vicky Keating. Les, I didn't hear Les. I know he was in the roll call. Les, are you there? Can you unmute?
Yes.
Okay, there he is. All right. All right. The motion carries.
Great. Thank you. Then we will move on to the consent agenda. Any questions or comments regarding anything listed under the consent agenda? And if not, I would look for a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
So moved.
All right, I heard Jeff move. Is that correct?
Jeff Huber did not move. That was not me.
Oh,
Neither.
okay.
I think Les Dom moved it.
Oh, Les did. Okay. Was there a second?
Second, Ron.
Yes. Thanks, Ron.
Tim, would you like to take the roll call vote?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
All right. Randy LaFoy. Randy, are you? I didn't hear your voice.
Tim, I think there may be some audio issues because I had to call in, just
Really?
so that you're aware.
Okay. Let me, well, what I'm going to do is switch me over to the phone feed here. And then we will not have, then I can get rid of my feedback. I can. All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to call the roll again on this on this motion, which is to approve the consent agenda. It was moved by Les, seconded by Ron. Randy LaFoy. Bob Nufford. Joanne Frayne. Jeff Huber.
Yes.
Amy Modine.
Yes.
Per Heiser.
Yes.
Lori Polkerbeck.
Yes.
Les Dom. Ron Den.
Aye.
Vicky Keating.
Yes.
I'm gonna go back to Les again. Les, I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, he's a yes. All right, the motion carries.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Then we will move on to reports. And under chairperson, I have one item. And I'd like to get a sense of the full commission's thoughts on strategic planning. This is something the executive committee discussed last month and was on board with. And with COVID, events that would have filled the staff's schedules have been canceled. So I see this time as an opportunity to get our strategic planning in place and to talk with our member cities to see what they'd like from the commission, both now and in the future. And again, I'm hoping to get the full commission's thoughts on that strategic planning idea.
Lori?
Yes.
This is Jeff Huber. Can you hear me, Lori?
Yes, I can.
This is Jeff Huber. Can you hear me, Lori?
Yes.
Okay. Lori, you were breaking up so badly. I heard that there was some sort of a strategic plan to speak with the city. Could you please describe that one more time, slightly louder, please?
Absolutely. And my apologies. And please let me know if it breaks up again, okay? Basically, what I said is I'd like to get a sense of the full commission's thoughts on strategic planning. And this is something that the executive committee discussed last month and was on board with. And basically, with COVID, events that would have otherwise filled staff schedules have been canceled. So I see this time as an opportunity to talk with our member cities to see what they'd like from the commission, both now and in the future. And again, I'm just looking for the full commission's thoughts.
Lori, this is Jeff Huber once again. Thank you for the proposition, the proposal, and I think it's a great idea. We would certainly like to be involved in that in the city of Grant.
Thank you. Any additional thoughts or comments? Okay. Well, we will continue to work on that, and thank you for your consideration. And I wasn't looking for a vote this evening, but rather to throw out that idea, get some feedback. So next, we will move to our treasurer, Ron.
All right. So we will talk about the budget recommendation later on under new business. So the thing to discuss, and I will entertain a motion on, is the Personnel and Finance Committee did review the performance reviews that were submitted by commissioners and staff for Tim to receive the same salary increase as the employees did. The Personnel and Finance Committee voted to approve that increase, and that's at 2.91%, and it goes retroactive back to January 1st to be in compliance with the same salary increases as the rest of the staff. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Jeff Huber, motion to approve.
I'll second. Amy Modine.
Okay.
All right.
I can call the roll. Randy LaFoy. Bob Nufford.
Yes, you can hear me. Yes, I approved it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Randy. Jeff Huber.
Yes.
Amy Modine.
Yes.
Karen Gotchberg. Tara Heiser.
Yes.
Lori Polkerbeck.
Yes.
Les Dom.
Yes.
Ron Den.
Aye.
Vicki Keating.
Yes.
The motion carries.
And Ron, did you have anything else?
Nope.
Great. Well, thank you for your work on that. Then we will move on to our executive director, Tim.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commission members. Since your last meeting, well, at your last meeting, you put a COVID preparation plan into place for the office so that our employees could come back and be compliant and be in, that we're, as an employer, compliant with the various practices. And so that was done, and several of the employees are now back on a daily basis. Some are here on a periodic basis as needed to access hardware and software. And we have a couple that are continue to work from home. So it's all worked out very, very well, I think. And things are beginning, I guess, to sort of normalize to some extent. In fact, on the programming front, we've resumed sort of the normal programs that we do that were on hiatus in April and May, and now are sort of back in production. We're doing these things and trying to use distancing and all the safety that we can, and so everybody's sort of almost second nature now for the staff and the clients. A lot of the things that we have been focused on in terms of programming is the community response to COVID and now, the reopenings that are happening. And as Laura mentions, there are summer events that have been canceled to avoid large group gatherings, but we are finding that there are smaller or virtual sorts of events that are sort of happening in lieu of some of those larger things. So, for example, one of those things, just to give you a sense of the kinds of things that are emerging, there's an organization that deals with children's performing arts in the communities, and they would normally be performing at some of these large functions. They can't do that, and so what they've come up with is this idea of doing pop-up concerts. So they're not really advertised and planned, but they are going to have them at some of the same locations, parks and so forth. And there's an interest in assisting them. And so if you happen to be strolling around, it's sort of impromptu that this happens, but we can bring our cameras there and cover these kinds of things. So that's the sort of thing that's happening to some extent in lieu of some of the large events that are normally covered. So that's sort of the programming piece of it, where there are content opportunities out there, and we're certainly interested at the staff level being a part of the planning that Lori talked about, and we're ready to help out on that and be a part of it. Then just very briefly, I'll move to renewal. The renewal hearing process is moving forward. There was pre-filed testimony that was submitted by both parties a week or two ago, and the next thing is sort of rebuttal testimony, and so that process is moving forward. And the Legal and Policy Committee is, of course, apprised of meeting, and the leadership is being advised of developments and so forth. So that continues. Unless there are questions, that's all I had for tonight.
All right, any questions for Tim? Okay, thank you, Tim. Then we will move on to operations update. We have program logs and reports in our packets. Any questions or comments regarding those? If not, then we will move on to committee reports. The minutes for 4 meetings were in our packets. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we will move on to our attorney, Mike Bradley.
Hi, Lori. Thank you, and good evening, everybody. I have 2 updates for you. One is the status of the appeal of the FCC's cable franchising 621 order. That is in front of the 6th Circuit Court of Appeals. The petitioner's briefs have now been filed, so those are the briefs that support the commission side of the appeal. We're now in a waiting stage for the FCC's briefs to be filed, and those will be filed here in early August. And then finally, I think I mentioned this last time, but as our meetings start to meet in person again, there's a new law in place for the open meeting law, so that if any of you feel uncomfortable about going to an in-person meeting due to COVID concerns, there is a process to follow to allow the commission to have you participate remotely. So if and when that day comes, then and you want to explore that, please just let Tim know. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions or comments for Mike? All right, great. Then we will move on to nothing under unfinished business. Wait a minute, I skipped cable company. Sorry. Do we have anyone on the call this evening who is representing Comcast?
I thought I saw Carly.
Carly, she was on, but she dropped off.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then we will move on. again, nothing under unfinished business. So we'll move to new business. And the first item listed is SCC Pro VOD replacement. And I believe Jeffrey Wilson will be starting us off.
Yes, commissioners. So as you know, we have a lot of infrastructure that we're working on replacing. We have been putting a plan together to replace some of our playback infrastructure that went in 2012. There's one piece, the Pro VOD server, which is the brains of the operation. That is the central server that controls everything else for our playback. Was attacked in March by ransomware. In the process of rebuilding it, we discovered that the age of the server makes it so it is in need of desperate need of replacement. We had noticed some slowdowns with some of our encoding of video files and general access into the system. After the ransomware attack, getting back up to speed took a lot longer than it should have, just in terms of the processing power on the server is wholly inadequate. The OS is also, it's on Windows 7, which was end of life last year. It's an 11-year-old OS, which opens us up to a whole host of other issues as well. So the recommendation is to replace that server now and then look at the rest of the structure in coming years as we put together kind of a 5-year equipment replacement plan. Any questions? I think we lost Lori.
Did we lose Lori?
Yep, she dropped off the list.
Okay.
Jeff, can you hear me? This is Randy LaFoy.
Yes, I can.
Was this on our list of things to fix in our equipment plan?
Not yet. Both Austin and I have been putting together a 5-year plan to replace a bunch of our infrastructure servers. This was on that, but nothing that had come to the commission yet. This one we found out, we've been in contact with Cablecast as we've had some issues recovering from the ransomware attack. Even their recommendation was to replace this server just due to age. At idle, when it's just running its processes with nothing extra, it is at 80%. So the minute we throw anything extra, which is like encoding meetings, all that kind of stuff, it maxes out and then really slows down. That's some of our backlog of VOD files. We aren't able to get through because it just does not have the power to get through all of that encoding and keep up with just day-to-day operations.
I understand that. But wasn't there another list that you put together, or another 5-year plan that you already put together?
I don't believe anything that has come to you for any server infrastructure. Everything else that has come before you has been portable equipment and editing stations.
Okay.
Right. Randy, it has appeared on, in a general sense, a master control upgrade replacement is, I mean, it's accounted for in our capital needs we identified in our needs assessment relative to franchise renewal. And it, so we recognize that there was going to need to be a replacement in policy. It's just on this particular item, it's coming to you maybe sooner than later based on the trouble that we had with it.
So Jeff's 5-year replacement is for everything we own then, or what is it? I guess.
No, the franchise renewal replacement, is 10 years actually, provides a 10-year projection. and then that we sort of, the intent is to use that as the mechanism for doing the capital planning, on a year-to-year basis.
Okay, thank you.
I'd also say that the amount of online content that we put on is really increased since we originally acquired this thing, and it's old, and it's had trouble, but we're also taxing it quite a bit, given the increase in volume that's occurred.
Yep, increase in volume and also move to HD. It's much bigger files that it's trying to handle, so we're really pushing the limits of it.
Any additional questions or comments? If not, I would look for a motion to approve as presented.
So moved. This is Wolfley.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Les Dom, second.
All right, thank you, Les. All right, so Randy made the motion, Les made the second. So Tim, would you please take the roll call vote?
Yes. Randy LaFoy.
Yes.
Bob Nufford. Joanne Frame. Jeff Huber.
Yes.
Amy Modine.
Yes.
Karen Gotchberg. Newton Smith. Ter Heiser.
Yes.
Lori Palkerbeck.
Yes.
Les Dom.
Yes.
Ron Den.
Aye.
Vicky Keating.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Then we will move on to the 2021 budget recommendation. Tim, would you please start us off?
Sure. Madam Chair, Commission members, the Commission at its July meeting each year considers a budget for the ensuing year. And what you have before you today is a recommendation from your Finance Committee to adopt this budget, and the requirement of our joint powers is that we're to report a budget by August 1st to each of the communities. So this has been recommended to you by the Finance Committee, but it comes with a caveat that that there will need to be new budgeting that occurs once we understand the outcome of our franchise renewal. And so in a sense, this budget is sort of a placeholder for a budget that will likely need to be created based on the new franchise. So what you're looking at then is sort of a continuation of the 2020 budget with the minor with some adjustments that are noted, but nothing new in terms of new programs, new staff, new sort of line items. It's the same as exists now. So that's what's in front of you. I don't know if committee members have any comments, but I'd be glad to take any questions.
Any questions or comments?
Can I ask a question about the cable television reimbursement?
Please.
Sure.
I think there's been probably a discussion in that in the past with the cable TV reimbursement. That actually comes from the city's franchise fees that are collected. I think it would be better for us to move that liability or responsibility to each individual city. because it is still their franchise fees. It allows each city to determine within their own policy what their reimbursement is for other city employees, commission representatives, and city council members as it relates to cell phone reimbursement, internet reimbursement, in this case, cable television. I think really it's kind of more relevant now in that the cities have employees that have been forced, if you will, to be able to work from home. They are not reimbursed for their internet connection, even though they do require that as a part of their job. I would look at this $39,000, which looks like it's a little shy of 10%, if you will, of the operating budget, which is a portion that is part of our franchise fees. To strike that from our budget, let each city determine how they want to reimburse their cities, because effectively that $39,000 should go back to the cities anyway in terms of their contribution percentage portion, and let them deal with on that end. But I don't think it should reside on our budget. So I would open for comments, if you will, on what the importance of this is, given the situation that we're right now. It provides us a little bit more breathing room, if you will, for our budget with the uncertainties we have with our PEG fees and the reduction in our franchise fees to sustain cable operations.
And this is Jeff Huber. Was that Tara Heiser I just heard speaking?
Yes.
I'm sorry? Yeah, Tara Heiser.
It was Tara Heiser. Okay. Tara, I think you missed our last budget meeting. I thought you were going to be with us on that one, but that's a rather large question, and certainly deserves some both some feedback and more discussion. It's just so, and I don't mean to pass the buck here, but that it is so difficult to have this type of a discussion on this type of technology platform. I can hardly hear any of you, and that's something I would be more than happy to discuss and really explore, Tara. But like I said, I can hardly hear you guys. So I'm going to leave my comments there. I think it's something that could be discussed, but like I said, I can hardly hear you. Okay, I'm going to put myself back on mute and listen. Jeff Huber, Grant.
Yeah, I apologize for not making that meeting. I was hoping I could, but I was actually couldn't even get away from what I was doing to try to get in front of a computer at that time, so I apologize.
And this is Lori Polkrebeck, and I can comment on that. I actually agree with both Tara's comments and Jeff's comments in that I do believe that that is something that will be on the table for discussion to be cut later this year. But I also believe that it's probably not going to get accomplished on the call this evening. So again, I support that cut, but I feel like that is for a discussion a little later in the year, but I know we're going to have that discussion.
Yeah, that's sufficient with me. I know it is kind of late. I'm not certain how, when we approve the budget today, if it's set in stone. Tim did mention that there's a lot of moving parts, not knowing what the franchise renewals can provide to us, but I would welcome the continued discussion as to at least move that towards an agency responsibility as they reimburse any of their employees or commission members. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will make note of our joint powers agreement requires that a budget be sent to cities by August 1st. So that is why we have to approve something so early in the year. That being said, because we will have a better idea about our budget as we progress through franchise renewal, I expect that the budget will be adjusted in the next few months. So I expect we will be discussing that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any additional questions or comments? If not, then I would look for a motion.
Jeff Huber, motion to approve.
LaFoy, second.
We have a motion from Jeff and a second from Randy. Tim, would you please take the roll call vote?
Yes. Randy LaFoy.
Yes.
Bob Nuffert. Jeff Huber.
Yes.
Amy Modine.
Yes.
Karen Gotchberg. Tara Heiser.
Yes.
Lori Polkerbeck.
Yes.
Les Dom.
Yes.
Ron Den.
Aye.
Vicky Keating.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Then we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is equipment grant funding policy. Tim, please start us off.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commission members. What you have is in front of you is a recommendation to make a couple of changes to the equipment grant program that the cities use to finance their telecasting equipment. The first one is just sort of administrative, really. It's to extend the deadline period for the program to January 29, 2021. The current deadline is July, meaning now. And so, given COVID and kind of the delays that has caused to communities sort of moving forward, we'd recommend extending it, so that those cities can complete their upgrades. Additionally, this proposal would add the eligibility for grant funding to allow communities, cities to outfit a conference room, for example. If they have leftover funding from already having upgraded the telecasting equipment for their main council chambers, then there's been an interest in being able to utilize funds to maybe do another room with cameras, and that way they can make use of the funding, and they have another programming venue within their building. So the amendments that you see in the actual policy are intended to accomplish those two things: extension of the deadline and expanding the use of the funds for secondary room meeting coverage.
This is Jeff Huber with Grant. Can you hear me, Tim?
I can, yes.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm speaking for Grant here, and we do office with Willerny and Delwood. Our office has been closed, and our town hall has not been entered now for over a month. So we haven't even been able to upgrade the equipment that has already been identified and already been scheduled to be done. And with COVID, we just haven't been able to do any of that. So full support on this. In fact, it should probably go a little bit longer. I'll put myself back on mute.
Yeah, can I just say I'm glad to bring this. Well, you can extend it to the date is just your policy pick. I thought you'd have, putting it through the month of January, I thought you'd have at least your January meeting to reconsider extending again if it seems like it is desirable to do that at that point. But we can revisit in November again too if you want. That's a policy call.
No, Tim, Jeff again. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for that. I agree with you. It's just sort of these never-ending delays and delays and delays. It would be nice to just kind of do one. But I understand what you're saying, Tim, and I support it. And certainly we can revisit it when we're allowed to come out of the bunkers here. All right, back on mute.
Are there any additional questions or comments? If not, then I would look for a motion to authorize modification of the municipal equipment grant policy as presented.
I would move that motion forward, Jeff Huber.
I'll second. Amy Modine.
All right, we have a motion by Jeff and a second by Amy. Tim, would you please take the roll call vote?
Randy LaFoy. Randy? I'm not hearing Randy. I'll come back to him. Bob Nuffert. Jeff Huber.
Yes.
Amy Modine.
Yes.
Karen Gotchberg. Tara Heiser.
Yes.
Lori Palkerbeck.
Yes.
Les Dom.
Yes.
Ron Den.
Aye.
Vicky Keating.
Yes.
I'll try once more, Randy LaFoy. Okay. Well, the motion carried without Randy.
Thank you. Then we will move on to software assurance renewal. Jeffrey, would you please start us off?
Absolutely. So we have a couple pieces of that are yearly costs for a lot of our infrastructure. Our cablecast software assurance and our edit share support contract. What these allow us to do is to get all software upgrades for all the software. So anytime they come out with a new version, new features, patches, that sort of thing, this allows us to get access to those to install to keep our systems up to date and secure. The other portion of this is the Cablecast Reflect. This covers our live and VOD capabilities. This allows us to keep our city channels live streaming and also meeting VOD accessible. So these are just yearly costs. It kind of laid out in the memo, but that's what they do.
All right, are there any questions or comments? And I can start us off with a comment. I had asked that we look at YouTube in addition, in that it's free and also it has a massive audience and great analytics, and you know, looks like there are some pros and cons to doing that, but I would be in support of the motion this evening. However, I would ask that we look further at YouTube for the future, as perhaps we will want to add some costs in the future.
That's yeah. We I believe you guys have the kind of what we looked at, good and bad on both. There's definitely more to look at, and we can definitely do some kind of test runs with things and see what it would take to kind of move that automated fully over to YouTube and get back to you with more data on that.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Say, this is Jeff Huber real quick. Lori, are you talking about totally dropping the license and going completely to YouTube, or keeping the platform we have now and also adding YouTube? Just to be clear.
Well, for the time being, I would like to, in the transition, add YouTube. And then once we get everything going, when the next renewal comes around, possibly drop the more expensive subscriptions.
I understand. Yeah, that is a good option, but getting ourselves up and running on YouTube so that it is not a shock to the staff. There's not some sort of a rapid move. Hello, doggies. Woof, woof, woof. Hello, mute button. Anyway, yes, Lori, I would totally agree. We need to start exploring that just in case that's a license we need to drop. In fact, that's probably not the only thing we could probably look at moving, but yes, total support on that, Lori. Thank you. Back on mute.
Thank you, Jeff. Any additional questions or comments? If not, then I would look for a motion.
Lori, this is Jeff Huber. Are you looking for a motion on that? I'm sorry, I was interrupted.
Yes, I am.
Yes, and I would move that forward. Motion made.
Thank you, Jeff. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Chair Heiser, City of Roseville, or North St. Paul.
Thank you, Chair. We have a motion and a second. Tim, would you please take the roll call vote?
Yes. Randy LaFoy.
Yes.
Bob Nufford.
Yes. Am I coming through now? This is Bob, but yes.
Oh, hey, Bob. Welcome.
Hey.
Yes, I heard you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I somehow got locked out. Thanks.
Oh, I'd like to, well, let me finish the roll call here. Jeff Huber.
Yes.
Amy Modine.
Yes.
Karen Gotchberg. Terheiser.
Yes.
Lori Polkerbeck.
Yes.
Les Dom.
Yes.
Ron Den.
Aye.
Vicky Keating.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries.
All right. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Jeffrey, for your work on that. Then we will move on. We have nothing under other business. So at this time, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion. Amy Modine.
Second, Bob Nuffert, if I have a voice again.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I'll go
Thank
for
you,
it.
Amy and Bob.
I've been lost in cyberspace for an hour.
Oh,
But
no. Welcome back.
I've heard everything.
Okay, great. Tim, would you please take the roll call vote?
I will. And just before I do the roll call vote, I'm going to say I will look at this. This didn't work. I thought we had better success with the Google Meet and this application previous time, but this has sort of been not working. So we could go look at other alternatives.
Oh, no, as a quick aside for everyone, I think it was a user issue by my part because I dialed in several minutes early and everyone, or at least it came on, everyone was put on hold. And then I think we're supposed to hit *6 that reactivate, which I didn't, and therefore could only hear.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've used Zoom a lot. I haven't used the Google, and I had problems last time.
Okay. Well, the other thing is if most people aren't going to be using video, we also have a conference. We have our own conference system on our phone system, and which works nice and might be better suited if folks really aren't going to be using the video. But I'll discuss that with Lori and leadership, and we'll see if we can figure it out and give it something that's more workable if based on feedback. All right, I'll do the call now for adjournment. Randy LaFoy.
Yes.
Bob Nuffert.
Approve.
Jeff Huber.
Yes.
Amy Modine.
Yes.
Terheiser.
Yes.
Lori Polkerbeck.
Yes.
Les Dom.
Yes.
Ron Den.
Aye.
Vicky Keating.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have
Thanks.
a good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Yep. Good night.